Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to Radio Works World. As you know, my name's Gill Barham, and I am the Miracle Molecule host. And this afternoon, I am very, very honoured to be joined by my lovely friend, my Scottish friend, somebody that I'm really very fond of, and his name is Davie McConnachie. Hello.
Hiya, hello everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are on the world, as Jill's already said.
Are. Absolutely. So, Davie, we've known each other for a few years now, and you actually live near most of my relatives, who I have 46 first cousins in Scotland, and they all live within about 5 miles of you.
Yep.
I'm very fond of that part of the world. Definitely. But anyway, we're going to have a light-hearted conversation today. We haven't seen each other for a little while, which I'm really looking forward to. But before we do that, what I'd like you to do is to give us a bit of an insight into what you do and why you do what you do and what you're passionate about, please.
Cool. So, my name's Davie McConnachie. I own a private one-to-one health, fitness and motivational coaching facility in Glasgow. Custom built it 6 years ago, launched it on Halloween in 2011, and I've been in the health and fitness industry since 2005, where I first started off coaching martial arts and then moved into studying at college through the industry, opening a small unit with one employee and then opening my custom built full-time facility in 2011, as I've already said. Previous to joining the health and fitness industry, I was obese. My background, I've dealt with addiction, I've been in homeless units, street crime, and that all accumulated from growing up in a dysfunctional family and dealing with verbal, mental and physical abuse from the age of 5. And that kind of led me down the route of alcohol at the age of 12, and drug intake from there on to getting involved in the wrong types of groups and with the wrong types of people.
So we're gonna look at certain times in your life throughout the call, but just tell us a little bit more about the business as it stands at the minute, and particularly tell us a little bit about what your focus is in terms of what you use fitness for.
Excellent. So my fitness facility is award-winning. In 2015, we were the first runner-up for the best regional gym in Scotland. We'd been shortlisted in 2014 and in 2015 for Functional Training Facility UK, Best Gym Team UK and for Scotland. We focus primarily on teaching people how to enjoy health and fitness and to bring it into their lifestyles so that they can make it an important part of their day, their week, but also their life. So we deal with the general public, predominantly executive type professional people, but we also have single mums, we have some students and we have some retired people that come in as well. But the majority of the people who come in here, we see 50 clients a week between me and my 4 coaches, and it's all one-to-one coaching that we do. It's all private. It's all a one-to-one model.
Yeah, and you also do a lot of work inspiring and coaching in the corporate world as well, don't you?
A bit of time previously working for Virgin Media, teaching about the importance of mindfulness, health and vitality, and kind of stress reduction, stress awareness. I have a Diamond Elite program that I deliver. I work with Chief Executive Officer of the 15th largest business in Scotland, global vice presidents, all my clients that I have are all very, very successful, very under pressure, and all kind of normal people like me and you, but have spent a lot of time in their careers. I deliver coaching workshops 4 times a year in Glasgow and Health Education Board Scotland, where I go in and I teach newly qualified dentists about emotional awareness, predominantly suicide prevention, strategic problem solving and goal setting as well. So I have the private gym facility that I direct and I run and I deliver coaching in, and I do some external work as well in the corporate arena, as you've said.
Quite amazing, quite amazing when, you know, we know the background, or we're going to hear a little bit more about the background that you come from. So, Davey, we're just going to leave the business bit here now.
Cool.
But I am going to give you the opportunity to talk about a little bit more about it at the end of the call. But this section now is really all about you. And I've got some questions, and these questions are asked to everybody. Everybody gets the same questions. I've interviewed over 40 people now. And but just to say, you don't know what I'm going to ask you, do you?
Not at all. I didn't know anything until I turned up 5 minutes ago in the green room, as they call it. It wasn't green though. Why did they call it the green room? It wasn't green.
I know it isn't green. I probably used to know that, but I don't know what it is now. So there are no riders, by the way, no blue Smarties for you anywhere in any green room anytime soon.
No, I don't know what you're going to ask me, Jill. Not at all.
Okay, so the idea here is that the scenarios and the questions I'm going to ask you are the answers I want you to really come straight from your heart. So they're going to be the real Davey. They're going to be things that first things that come into your head. So my first scenario. And you're going up to the top floor.
Sorry, Jill, I lost you. Yeah, just for about 10 seconds, please start that again. I never heard it.
Okay.
Okay.
So you're in a very nice hotel.
Yep.
And you're going up to the top floor of this hotel to have a very, very nice lunch.
Cool.
Now, I know you like your food, so that
sounds good. Yes.
And you get into a lift or an elevator, as our American friends call it, and one other person gets in the lift with you, and as you're going up to the top floor, the lift gets stuck. There's the bad news. There's another bit of bad news in that you're called and they say you're going to be here for 2 or 3 hours. But here's the good news. One is you've got windows, so you're not going to get claustrophobic in this lift. But the other bit of good news is that you get to choose who you are going to spend that 2 or 3 hours with in that lift. So anybody that you've ever wanted to have 2 or 3 hours with to yourself, to ask all the questions that you've ever wanted to ask, dead or alive, who would that person be?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. If I had an opportunity to be able to spend time with somebody that's not here anymore, it would be my mum. My mum died about 3 years ago, and there's stuff that we need to talk about. And so, if I had that opportunity, I mean, there's Bruce Lee as well. But if I really had to choose, and I got the, it would be my mum, definitely.
Great. Fantastic. It's lovely. I think you're possibly only one of 2 people that have chosen somebody that isn't famous effectively. So that's really nice. And I know a little bit about your background to know why that's important to you. Okay. So because you're on your way to lunch, and we don't want you to be hungry. Oh, Marina's saying hi, by the way.
Hi, Marina. I'm looking forward to meeting you. I've heard so much about you from Cheryl and Marion and Jill and everybody. So.
Yeah. So I'm going to magic you up a bit like, your little boys know Harry Potter, I'm sure. I'm going to magic you up a lovely table, and it's going to be full of your favourite food and drink to share with your mum. So what would your favourite food and drink be, Davey?
Okay, so I'm thinking about what my mum enjoys as well. So for a starter, we would have a prawn cocktail. And we'd have some nice champagne to drink with that. It's Long Perrier, the rosy one, the Long Perrier rosy. So we'd have that just to cleanse the palate, and then a nice prawn cocktail because my mum loved prawn cocktail. And then for our main course, she'd have a well done, which would kind of piss me off a bit, but she'd have a well done fillet steak, and that would have a fillet steak with vegetables, and then we would have a bottle of red wine, Monte, let me remember. A Brunello di Montalcino, 2000.
Oh,
A Brunello di Montalcino, 2006.
wow.
We would have that with main course because my family, my sister, and my twins had in the Montalcino restaurant, and that was the first place we all drank it together. So that was my mum's favourite wine.
Okay, and would you have a dessert as well?
Yes, I would have one of my mum's pavlovas. She used to make the most amazing pavlova, and it was renowned. You know, if you didn't get in quick, you didn't get another bit.
Perfect.
And biscuits and cheese afterwards. Biscuits and cheeses from around Europe, and honey, white honey, because cheese and honey is amazing.
Yep.
So yeah, that's what we would have.
Fantastic. Okay, all right. Perfect. Thank you very much for sharing that. All right, now I'm going to take you back to the 18-year-old you. You've mentioned a little bit already about your journey as a young man and as a teenager. So perhaps you could enlighten us a little bit to tell us what you were doing at 18, where you were living, what was happening in your life at 18.
At 18, I was living in England. I was kind of bouncing from job to job, but I was also, the people that I hung about with were my friends, or the people that I grew up with. I've got a lot of love for them. I've got a lot of respect for them as well. I don't have any animosity, and I chose my path in life. No, I had more of a hassle dealing with the acceptance of the child abuse that I suffered, which scenario. But at 18, I was in Glasgow, and I was going out and doing what most 18-year-olds, a lot of bother with the police. I was involved in a knife crime that saw me spend a weekend in the police cells, which then led me on to applying to join the army and lying on all the forms. And at 19, I went into the army. I managed to kind of manoeuvre my way through it to the point where, instead of getting a custodial sentence from the sheriff in the sheriff court on the 19th of January 1997, I was given a substantial several thousand. And I was taking a lot of drugs. I was partying. I was going dancing at the weekend, and then I ended up in the army to escape. I ran away to the army to escape, not to escape from anybody. I loved all my pals, and I loved that time in my life at the time. Just looking back, I can see up I was, and how much I really did have to escape. But I was more running away from me. I was running away from me and my problems, and not being able to deal with the trauma. I suppose now, when I look back, but hindsight's a brilliant thing, isn't it? Well, so that's what I was doing at 19.
I think you and I have been on a very similar journey, in that, as in our stage of life, we're much more aware now of what that trauma does to you, whether that's, when you're 3 or 4 years old. It's that very important time in your life when all of that stuff that you may not even remember actually gets held in your body and in your brain and in your psyche, and it affects the rest of your life without even you really knowing it. Do you agree?
Yeah, depressed, but also depressed. If you look at the word depression, it's depression of trauma, of tragedy at times, of terrifying experiences that we go through as young children, young babies, and it does dictate, I believe, or can affect the direction of your life going forward, up until the point where you decide to do your inner work, and you start to go inside and deciding who you start to evaluate and assess actually who you are, who you actually really want to become. The doors of success turn inwards, definitely. The doors of success turn inwards, I believe, as inside the person. So I do. we sing from the same song sheet, me and you.
Yeah, we do. And Davey, what were you listening to when you were 18? What music? What was the music of your 18-year-old you?
Still the same stuff I listen to just now. So if I was exercising or dancing or raving, then it would be proper Tom Wilson, happy hardcore, GB, the GBX show in Glasgow, the George Bush. And then if I was stoned, it would be like Bob Marley, Pink Floyd, Suzanne Vega, Tracy Chapman, that kind of stuff, David Gray, those types of artists. And if I was just chilling, then just kind of any kind of charted off. Oasis, huge part of my life. Oasis music's a massive part of my life. It's behind my family, my fitness, then this music, and they're all very, very kind of aligned with each other. There's not, singer-songwriters, poets, and then more kind of. So I love the dancing. I like dancing.
I've seen you dancing on YouTube. If anybody hasn't seen it, then you need to see Davey dancing on YouTube.
I don't dance like that when I'm out. That was just a piss take. I was camping it up a bit to give everybody.
I don't believe that for a minute.
Nearly 3,000 views. That was my most popular post.
I can believe it.
Serious things and really good content, and
people aren't interested in that. You just want to see you clowning around.
That one went viral. The point with that video as well, though, is don't take yourself too seriously. Like, I know who I am. I'm not needing of approval, and I also I'm not scared of other people's judgment. So I can have a laugh and I cheered people up. So that was the most important
Absolutely,
thing.
I thought it was absolutely brilliant. Okay, so that was the 18-year-old you. So what was happening by the time you got to 35?
Oh, that's a great age to ask me. Mm-hmm. So 35, I was a business owner. 5 years ago, I was a daddy at Lewis, and I had just started my inner journey.
Yeah. Your sound's going in and out now as well as mine.
Hello? Is that better?
Hello. Yeah.
I can hear you. I just started working on my inner journey. I hire Brian Costello, one of the top celebrity Scottish mind coaches. He is now published author. I knew him through a meeting we'd had. And I knew I'd opened this gym. There's a whole episode in the whole gym scenario and what happened, but ultimately my old coping mechanisms had shown up again, and I was pretty lost in fear and doubt and worry, and all this with the way that I'd always done it, as in eating my way through it, drinking my way through it, and abusing stimulants. So I decided it was because I was a father, it was time to delve into this and try to deal with it. So I started working in NLP more to the journey that I've been on for the last 5 years. So I was just starting to learn about me, as in the real me and the authentic Davey, rather than the mask that I'd been.
Yeah. It's really interesting, Davey, because 35...
with Jill.
You were with Julie, yeah.
Yeah, and I was with Julie at that time.
Yeah. 35 is such... can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
35 is such a watershed, and I don't know where I picked that number from, because everybody gets asked that same question. But for some reason, 35, and if you listen to the other calls, 35 is such a significant number for, I would say, 90% of the people that have been on the show. It's really interesting, and I really don't know why. I'd be fascinated to know why that is. But anyway, thank you for sharing that. So I've got some quick fire questions for you now. So these just require a kind of 1 or 2 word answer. So are you a radio or a TV boy?
Oh, neither.
Do you like fiction or non-fiction?
I like both, but I spend my time educating my brain.
So non-fiction, really. And are you?
Yeah, at the moment.
Carry on.
Yeah, no, just at the moment, I'm feeding my brain. I love fiction. I do love fiction, but I don't have time for it at the moment because my brain space has to be used in developing my education, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does indeed. And are you the oldest, middle, or youngest child?
I'm the baby. I was the baby. I'm a twin as well. So I had 3 sisters, but I have 3 older sisters. But I was a twin. My twin sister, Shirley.
You have a twin sister. Ah, that's great. My husband's a twin. He's the youngest, and he has a twin sister too.
Yeah.
Okay, and at school then, so let's kind of concentrate on maybe secondary school. So were you the goody two-shoes? Were you the class clown? Were you a bit of a handful, or were you under the radar?
I was a handful and class clown. So to justify this, 2014 I went for educational psychological just to make sure. I knew that I was a bit different, and I knew that I had my own special way of teaching myself how to learn. But I went to the top educational psychologist in Scotland and paid for myself to be tested for dyslexia, and the dyslexia I've got so severe. But at school, I was.
Hang on, we missed that bit. You got tested for dyslexia. Just tell us that again.
Yeah, we got tested for dyslexia, and the level of dyslexia that I have is really severe. I have my working memory is 25% slower than a non-dyslexic, and it can take me up to 3 times longer to pick up cognitive. My twin sister was a grade A student, so even through primary school, everybody told my parents that I was lazy and that I was stupid. And my dad told me that I was lazy and I was stupid, and it was punched and kicked into me. So, and that was from the age of 5, 6, 7, all the way through. So I really struggled, and I struggled to learn in the army, and then I managed to scrape myself through night school and HNDs and all these other bits and pieces where I'd never manage it. So in school I had no interest. But on the other side, at the age of 13, I started writing poetry, and I've got 35 different anthologies that I'm published in. I was published in the Times newspaper. I was published in the Guards Journal. I've got 167 poems in my book called Reflection that will be published at some point, and where I was creating and expressing myself through words and feeling. I was also getting abusive, so school wasn't a really good time for me at all. There was a lot of bullying, there was a lot of physical bullying. There was just the first half of my life, from the age of 5 to 27, was a complete train wreck, if I'm honest with you. I only really became alive when I came into the fitness industry. For the first time in my life, I felt at home, and I knew this was the place that I wanted to be, and I also knew I wanted to inspire, educate, motivate, and transform other people the way that other people could, and that I would work as hard as I could to create a model of facility that other people could follow so that they could go through the same transition and even transformation as I have. And I've
it is incredible.
For 12 years.
It is incredible what you've done, because I know I've seen the dips myself, and it's so refreshing and honest, because you're always honest with people when you hold your hand up and you go, oh, I'm having a rubbish time at the moment, things aren't going so well. And even though you're a super successful business owner, you know, you're still on that roller coaster ride. But that's what makes you Davy. That's what makes you relatable. That's what makes you successful in my eyes anyway.
Thank you very much.
So my next question then is, what is your best habit?
My best habit is getting up every single day at 3 o'clock in the morning.
I know, you're a crazy boy.
No, I'm a disciplined mofo. No, I trained myself to do it. Went to Tony Robbins UPW in 2011. Didn't want to leave on the final day where they do the trance and they take you in your future home, and Joseph McKelvey III's there, and everybody's happy, and I got on that plane and I was like, nice life. And I just decided that if I could be dancing at 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning with no drugs, happy as Larry, after going to my bed at 3 o'clock the morning before, after 2 full days, doing the firework, which I know, there's ways around it, it's all about empowerment. I said to myself, well, if you can do that here and now, then you take that with you. And I started it then, started working it in, and now, girl, I'm just wired. I'm wired. I don't even think about it. No, I'm just wired that way. I'm up. I get 18-hour days mostly, but also the other thing about the 3 o'clock in the morning for me, that allows me to do a 12-hour shift in my business and go home for 3:30 and see my children.
Yeah.
I get dinner at the dinner table. We're not max capacity because we're still going through that hole, but I've got my life in a way. I've created the life that I want so that I can spend time with the people that need me, the business that needs me, doing what I love, which is coaching. I mean, passion. But then going home, I'd hug with Julie and chilling out and watching a box set and eating dinner at the dinner table and fulfilling my role as a family man, a husband and a daddy as well. Because I don't want to jeopardise my external life for a business. I don't want to be a workaholic. I'm not a workaholic up at 3 o'clock. Well, I'll get up at 3 o'clock. I'm living in a dream. I've created this life going forward. I've got a mission I need to fulfill. I've got my purpose defined. I've got complete clarity in where I'm going. And if that means I need to get up at fucking 3 in the morning, I'll get up at 3 in the morning. Done. So that's my best habit. Incredible.
That's your best habit. All right then. So, what's your worst habit? Did you hear that?
Oh, I heard you. Don't know if we can talk about that. What's my worst habit? Oh,
nah, one that we can share on Facebook.
Aye, definitely not for social media. I suppose I won't. Stuff. I probably procrastinate a wee bit too much.
Okay.
Aye, that's habit. What's my worst habit?
What would Julie say?
Not paying attention. Living in Davy land.
There we go. I think that might be it. Okay, and oh my goodness me, my machine has just told me it's got low battery and my battery pack's downstairs. Oh, this is a bit scary.
No, that's completely unprofessional, Joe. That's
completely. I got carried away. So my next question is, what do you do to relax?
I listen to music and hugs, where we both lie together and he gets his head on where my heart is and listens to my heartbeat, and I breathe with him and I pick up his heartbeat and we just lie and we listen to music and he picks the songs. So it's like James Bay, Cannonball. There's loads of new stuff that's out just now, but it's all quite kind of melodic, I think it's a word to use. I don't know.
Yeah.
Music, and I love to meditate. I love just completely zoning out and meditating, and eating is part of my relaxation, and obviously exercise. My training's a huge part of move the body, still the mind, which is a saying that a friend of mine, Ryan McDonald, an old coach as well, says, still the body, move the mind. So that's how I
Okay, cool.
Top
and I'm going to ask you a question and then I'm going to go and get my charger so that I don't disappear. So
cool.
I'd like you to tell us, please, what your karaoke song is. So you know that I sing, you know this.
Yes, so you're a great, fabulous singer.
So if I was to get you up on stage, you've got 2 minutes while I go and get my charger to tell everybody what your karaoke song would be and why. Okay,
so while Jill runs away for a battery pack, my song, I like Coming to America by Neil Diamond. My mum first introduced me to Neil Diamond back in the day. My dad was a Dire Straits fan. and my mum was in a Neil Diamond, and we used to watch the jazz singer together, and the song Coming to America, or America, is my favourite karaoke track. That, and I've got two actually, I don't have one, and the other one's Walk of Life by Dire Straits. Enjoy those two. They're my two favourites. They would be my go-to songs, and they're probably only two that I can actually semi-perform or sing, because in Scotland they call a good singer a chanter, and I'm not a good chanter at all. I'm not good at singing, but they're my two. I can't pick one between the two of them. Welcome back, Jill.
Okay.
That was quick.
Back in the room.
Jill, awesome.
That was quick, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I didn't hear that. What was it? What did you say?
There's two. Neil Diamond, the America, because my mum introduced me to Neil Diamond and watching the jazz sing.
Oh yeah.
And her love for him. And then my dad was into Dire Straits, and I sang Walk of Life, and I really enjoy singing Walk of Life. So there's those two. Walk of Life would be first, I suppose, and the jazz singer America would be number two if I really had to pick. But I would prefer both of them if I can have to.
All right. I'll let you have two because I disappeared and left you to it. Okay. Do you have any nickname?
Not now, but my army nickname was McGonks, and my nickname when I was younger was Mick, because I've got big lips like Mick Jagger.
Mick or McGonk? Did you say?
McGonks was my army name because somebody called McConnachie had been in before me, and he was called McGonks, so I just adopted his nickname. And when I was younger, my nickname was Mick, and that was, people say it was for Mick. It was because I had big lips like Mick Jagger.
Okay, cool. All right. So I'm going to paint another scenario for you now.
Cool. Awesome.
So you know that I've been married for centuries. I've been with my husband for 35 years.
Yep.
Bless him. And a couple of years ago, I don't know if you remember this because we told everybody, and it was all over Facebook. We went to America for a couple of years ago for a month, and we had a travel consultant who organised it all for us and booked the hotels and the flights and blah 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 blah. And for that whole month, we did 8 states and we did 3,300 miles in a car. And apart from 7 hours when my husband went off on a Harley Davidson into the desert, we were with each other for 24 hours a day for those 30 days.
Yep.
And we didn't have a crossword at all the whole time we were away.
Bravo. Well
so
done.
my question to you is, if I was to organise a lovely holiday for you, who would you spend a whole month with without a crossword?
Julie, without a doubt, my best friend and my soulmate. She's amazing. Julie's the most amazing person ever. She's the glue that holds us together, but she knows every single thing about me, everything, and she holds me up when I'm at my worst. Absolutely beautiful. She's the most amazing human being ever, and she's my best friend. And I wouldn't want to spend that. I wouldn't want to spend time with anybody apart from my gorgeous wife. She's phenomenal.
Thank you. Well, I love that. Okay, now we're back to music. So I've told you that we're going to create a book of all of the transcripts that's going to go around the world in 80 days. So we know all about that. But also, because of my passion for music, because as you know, I've got a music degree, I'm also going to create a playlist. And so I'm asking every one of my guests to choose one song that you would like included in my playlist. And that song is the one that will make you feel lighthearted.
Cool. So I need my phone because I need to give me 2 seconds. I'll be like 10 seconds after that. Hey. It was just behind me. So there's a story. Always a story. Was a story with Davy, but and Bennington was. I thought like committed suicide.
I can't hear you. Sorry, say that again.
Hello. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's a bit in and out.
1, 2. Hello. Is that better?
Hello.
Hi. So,
I don't know what's going on.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Right, everyone, we're back on.
we're on.
Cool. So, One More Light, Chester Bennington, Linkin Park.
Oh yeah, One More Light, that one.
Yeah, I never knew who he was until he committed murdered, whatever it comes out. And when I started to look into who he was, I'd never been into Linkin Park, I'd never listened to their music. I watched his interviews on him discussing his mental health and his depression and the challenges. And he's the only person that I've ever listened to who could articulate and verbalise things when I'm really, really low. Me and Julie then watched it together, and it opened up this amazing dialogue between us two, so that she could understand what I'm when I'm low, like super low, once every 6 months or so, on the value years. So his music, and then I started listening to his songs, and I started listening to what was inside the song and what I could take from it. So it would be that song, because I think it's truly beautiful, and I also really appreciate the fact he was showing his interviews about how he feels because or how he felt, because it helps other people to be able to have the confidence to do the same thing. On that note, there's a campaign launching tomorrow.
You can tell me about that in a minute. You can tell me about that in a minute. Tell me about it in a minute.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm delighted to have that in my playlist. Thank you very much. I will include it. My last question to you before I'm going to give you another platform to tell us about your business and anything that you want to tell us about is...
I lost you, Joe. You're not there. You are
my
now.
My last question,
yep.
Have you got it?
Yep.
My last question to you is the thing that I'm mostly passionate about now, which is about your heart.
Yep.
As you know, I've written a book called The Heart of a Woman, How to Look After the Heart You Give to the World. And so my last question is got two answers. So I would like to know how you look after your heart, both from a physical point of view, and I think we've covered a lot of this because of the things that we've talked about, but also your heart that you have to give to the world. So emotionally and spiritually, how do you look after those two aspects?
Okay, so emotionally and spiritually, I make sure that I top and tail the day with gratitude journaling, purely because I enjoy it. It's also good for my mental health, for the dopamine and serotonin flushing. And my meditation gives me a chance to unplug from everything that I have to do, enjoy, fulfill all my commitments, and it allows me to spend time with me, somebody I used to be scared of, but somebody now that I completely care about, love, and have a wholehearted forgiveness, compassion, but unconditional love for. And that's why I wear red now, because red's the colour I love. It's my favourite colour. So like all my guys are still in the black uniform. My uniform's red, because I believe that we should all look after ourselves, but we should also try to look after each other within proximity, but within reason as well. Because, well, if you're hurting people and all the rest of it, then you don't, that physically, I train every day, every single day. So I exercise or I move. It's my physical therapy every morning. I'm either doing a heavy session or a mid session. Heavy session would be kettlebell training or lifting heavy stuff. My mid session is kickboxing, which is something that I've loved and enjoyed, and was the initial thing that helped me transform me.
You used to compete too, didn't you?
Yeah, I had a wee dabble in it. I did a few different combat sports and did some kettlebell sport. Fought in some big shows, was knocked out a few times in front of lots of people, which isn't the most valiant and warrior type experience. But yeah, I did a bit. I'm not one for puffery when it comes to combat sports. I don't want to brag about stuff. I played my part and I dealt with my demons through it. But I exercise every single day, even if it's just some stretching, some dancing, some skipping. I just make sure for the first thing in the morning, first 2 hours, that's my movement time, and I'm 100% fully committed to it, because I love it first and foremost, but also because I know the importance it has within me from a metabolic perspective and from a chemical balance perspective, and for a counterbalance to the depressive episodes and all the other kid. So,
yeah.
my heart.
Okay, and so on that vein, because I think this is so relevant to kind of what's coming up for you and what you do at the moment. So I'm going to put your website link up on the screen in a minute, so that people can connect with.
I just lost you after connecting.
So I'm going to put your website up so people can connect with you. But
Yep.
just for the last couple of minutes, will you tell everybody what you're really excited about that's coming up over the next few months? You know, what you've got planned, what your real focus is now?
Yeah, so there's from a business perspective, we are launching the MTM, the Motivate 10 Million program, where it's a bit like when you sign up to do a marathon, you get your registration number, or when you connect with us in our community, you get your kind of ID number, and no matter what level people want to like come in at, if you're like-minded and you're an individual who wants to learn how to bring health and fitness, or health or fitness consistently into your routine and learn how to kind of fall in love, really enjoy it, then that's the kind of vision for it. The vision's global reach. My purpose, my clarity from my purpose is to eradicate sedentary lifestyle. I love fitness and I love movement. I have my own challenges. There's other things that challenge me more than fitness, but that's my drive. It's what saved my life. It's what's created my life. So I feel passionate about that. I have a vehicle, the DMC Empower 5 program, which is my UBS that I've created while I've been part of Andy's Professional Speakers Academy and still will do.
So UBS is your unique branding system. So this is your kind of program.
My unique branded solution, as in my model, what I've done, where I've taken the last 12 years of my experience and pulled it all into a really easy to follow format for people to deliver from a coach's perspective, but also for people to follow along. Personally, I'm involved with a campaign that launches tomorrow called Get Real to Stop Suicide. And it's a group of professional people who all admit that they've been suicidal in the past or have suicidal episodes, go through crisis, suffer mental health challenges and depression. So I had my first suicide attempt at 17, and which I didn't talk about for a long time. I had suicidal bouts in the army in the 5 years, and then when my parents died a couple of years ago, I had probably the worst depression that I've experienced in the last 10 years. And at that point was really at crisis point, was like, and Julie and the boy lighthouse that kept me going, along with the community that I'm part of at PSA. So I'm really passionate about this, and it launches tomorrow, and it's a bit like the Ice Bucket Challenge, where people just make a short video not to talk about the trauma, not to talk about the tragedy, but more to talk about, look, it's okay to not feel that well, and it's okay to be sad, and life will be traumatic, but there are people there that understand how you feel. You're not alone, and there can always be a way out if you think your way out of it and you feel your way out of it. So trying to help with that. I'm also in connection with a Glasgow-based charity called Lovely, who just supported the Lovely Weekend on the 5th of August, where a young lady, a young 22-year-old girl, took her own life. And one of my clients is a trustee to the charity, and I'm going to be getting involved with it in a more active energy, time and commitment, and helping to raise awareness on mental health, but also more from a holistic approach of how to manage it, because I manage mine myself. I'm non-medicated. I don't take any medication, and I've learned how to deal with severe trauma and the kind of tragedy that life can throw at you sometimes, but also get through it without having to heavily medicate myself. Now, I'm not saying that medication's not right for some people. I'm here to champion the holistic approach of health and fitness and a positive self-image and empowering self-talk. So that's where I'm going from a personal perspective, and that's where I feel most passionate now. I want to tell my story, share my story, and allow people to realise that if they get moving, they'll change the chemical balance inside their body. And if they get thinking a bit better about themselves and they start to work on crafting and creating a better self-image, better self-chat, better self-internal dialogue, higher self-esteem, self-confidence, self-acceptance, acknowledgement, all that stuff, and couple that with healthy living choices, fun with friends, interaction, communication, and fitness, then that will help to buffer and also improve and manage the situations when people do get low and they do get lost and life does become traumatic and overwhelming. So that's where it's going now, and that's where my passion lies. That's where I believe I can make the biggest impact.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And Marina's inviting you to come and talk on the red carpet and be part of the Radio Works World movement. And I absolutely think
I would love to.
You know, now is the time for you to do that. There is actually a red carpet event going to be happening in Edinburgh soon too. But you know, we need to get you down to London because you're too much of a secret, Davie McConnachie. And there are so many people that you can help. And I know that Radio Works World and Marina are just one of the platforms that you can use in order to do this great work that you do from a place of absolute authenticity and real love and,
awesome.
And support. So thank you very much for sharing everything that you have done today. I've really enjoyed our light-hearted conversation. I hope you have too.
Yeah, of course. I just I can't have a hug.
I know. But we might be seeing each other soon, mightn't we?
Yes, we should be.
Yes, we should be seeing each other on the dance floor very soon.
Yes. Awesome. I've had a great time. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome, and thank you very much.
I would love to accept the offer to come down onto the red carpet and
yes, you must do that.
Yes,
we're going to get it sorted. Put October the 2nd in your diary, apart from anything else.
I'm in Turkey. Sorry.
Oh, you're in Turkey. Okay. Yeah, well, we'll sort out some other dates.
Cool.
Yeah, there are other dates coming up. There's one on the 6th, and there's one on. I think I'm hosting one on November the 7th, something like that. But you know, we need to get you on there. So, but we'll be in touch, and we'll let you know what's going on. Thank you very much for sharing today. Love to Julie and the boys.
Yeah, same with you.
And I'm sorry that your little lad had a bit of an accident today, and I hope he gets better soon.
Boys will be boys.
I know. Okay.
Awesome. See you later, Joe. Thank you. Bye-bye.